Hello, I'm Ashy. Today I have Wa,
Hello.
and Des is here too.
I am back.
Back again. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's...
Oh no.
Well, now we're copywritten too, on top of all the other crimes we've committed.
Okay,
All
I'm
the
sure
other
we can
crimes
find one.
we've committed is just say unhinged shit and bash Paizo. Especially Sean K. Reynolds. Fuck that guy.
So
I
anyway,
mean, in the era of cancel culture, that's basically like suicide.
What, bashing
Oof.
Paizo?
No, having opinions.
Damn. Shit, our channel's built
okay,
on opinions. We're doomed.
It's okay, you can't cancel people who don't matter.
Fair.
We have nothing to
Ouch.
lose.
So anyways, today we're going to be talking about the magical beasts that you can get via the feat Beast Speaker and also the feat Monstrous Mount.
Yeah, if you thought you were escaping the animal companions, no, there's more.
So, I actually like basically every creature on this list. Like, bullets are one of my favorites. Bahirs are some of my favorites. Basilisks are some of my favorites. I actually love all of these creatures as entities, so I'm quite happy to be here.
Yeah,
They're
you say
actually
that,
cool.
but we're about to see how they neutered them and kicked them in the balls to actually make them pickable.
Well, you've ruined my day now.
Oof.
I'm out.
Okay, later, Wa.
Ciao.
So, anyways, now that we know what we're talking about today, we're going to be putting them in this tier list. So, we can probably go ahead and get started. At the top of Beast Speaker, and okay, we should probably also mention, in order to have access to these creatures, you do need to take a feat. In order to unlock all the features that these creatures can provide you, you have to take another feat. So, all these creatures, you're taking 2 feats for, if you want to meet their full potential. That might be a no-go for some people, but if you can stomach that. The Basilisk.
Right.
So the Basilisk is kind of slow at 20 feet. It starts at medium, it doesn't get bigger, but that's probably fine. It's got respectable natural armor. Its bite is not very strong, but it does have a decent starting array, like decent starting strength. Dexterity's not great. Constitution's 15, so it's got decent starting like constitution. It can be a little durable. It's got some abilities here. The important one here is Gaze. It starts out as a once per day ability. So that might be a deal breaker. It's a Fortitude negates. It is a Constitution scaling DC. Considering its con gets pretty decent, that's probably fine. And we do come out to around like 20 strength and Constitution 19 under its own power. And that gaze goes from once per day to 3 times per day. Granted, it's a 9th level advancement, so it does take a while to turn on. And you can get the mastery at 11, which causes it to go from a paralysis gaze to flesh to stone, like a normal basilisk would have.
I'm probably gonna say this a lot, but at the cost of 2 feats, this is definitely like, its gaze is very nice. I'm not gonna deny that. But its stats kind of put it on par with some of the other things that we've got on here.
Yeah, like...
And I don't think the gaze saves it requiring 2 feats.
The gaze only requires 1 feat to function. You only need like
Yeah, but
the
you need
first
1
feat to
feet
take
to
it.
get the fucker.
Yeah.
So it's 2 feet.
It's 2
2
feet
feet
if
to
you
get
want it
the
to be
gaze.
flesh to stone, but a D4 paralysis might be enough to remove something from their fight because that thing can open up the coup de grace.
That is fair.
Right.
Being locked behind feats definitely does hurt it, but
It does hurt it.
And
So-
that slow ass speed of 20 is a little bit like this
It's
bugger
lumbering.
is not going to be helping you very much in a lot of the bigger combats.
Let's go have a look at a basilisk.
To compare it to?
I was looking at how many times it can just use it.
I think a normal basilisk it's
It's
just a gaze
infinite.
attack. It just
It's a
does
gaze.
it.
I don't like that bit.
Yeah. They were afraid to give it like just a full-on gaze as well. Like it's only 1 target that it can target, as opposed to a cone.
Yeah,
No.
well,
It's still kind of a strong special ability.
right, but you're spending a bunch of feats to get a Basilisk. You'd at least expect it to behave as an Basilisk.
Now, why would you expect that?
Because a Basilisk is because fucking because.
I think like because of the feat requirement and everything, probably B or low A, because it does have good stats. A little bit slow, but
It's got an excellent ability.
it
Yes.
does have an excellent ability. But I am gonna judge extra harsh with the "you're taking up my feet" bat.
I don't like how they got rid of it being just a single target thing. Make it a cone. Yeah, it's limited to 3 times a day, but make it a fucking gaze.
Like they could have made it single target on the first one, like the one at the like your medium one. But then when it advanced, just make it a cone.
I'd hazard to put it as an A. I'd say B. It'd be A if it actually functioned like a basilisk, like a gaze attack. That's what I think.
You guys are more generous to it than I was. I was thinking it would probably make it into C tier. Like, its stats are on par with a lot of C tier things, and it has a good ability, counteracted by the fact that it costs a feat to take. But also, you don't.
Flesh
This,
to-
this one doesn't require you to take the second feat. Flesh to Stone's good, but you could take the one feat and actually feel pretty fine about having a paralysis gaze.
Yeah, I mean, flesh to stone is nice, but like paralysis is basically the same thing. If you have someone close enough to the person when they get paralyzed, then they're just killed.
Well, that's why I'd say like high A, low B is probably appropriate, because how many animal companions get a non-poison paralysis option?
Almost none of them. I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything else here on the list that even inflicts paralysis.
I will say, I still do hate that low ass speed, because, I mean, you and I were talking about it before, the Kaflang problem, where Kaflang had no innate forms of getting to the enemies. And so it kind of resulted in him not standing out as much as, like, say, Amaya and Misery, because they had ways to get to the enemies. They would deliver themselves.
A base basilisk is also 20 feet. They're just not fast.
Yeah, they're just a slow creature.
They're just a slow creature. What I think
but
is
I'm
that...
judging this based on the animal companions. Like, there's
Yeah,
a lot
that's
more that
fair.
have a lot more scoom.
True. Aside from it not being a cone, which I would argue to the death with a DM to make it a cone at least on the 11th level advancement, is that its bite attack's being dropped down by an entire dice from its creature equivalent. That should be a D6 and a D8.
Yeah.
Well, hell, it should always just be a fucking D8, but here we are.
They weren't kind to that bite attack. They really
I don't know
weren't.
why.
Let's also be fair. Move 20 feet, and then you got to hit something within 30 feet with your paralysis gaze. There's a good chance that, like, depending on where the combat starts, you just might not even be able to get a good target with your paralysis. But yeah, I think B could work because it does have some things going for it.
Like,
It's an animal
still
companion.
kind of just a
It's
decent
an animal
stat line.
companion. It has a gaze. There are feats it could take. There is a couple of gaze feats. In monster feats. Animal companions do get feats.
They
so
do.
I think there is something that this can do that no other animal companion possibly could. And that stops it getting tanked.
Yeah,
what I
it
think.
does have a very unique niche. Kind of like how
And the fact that this one... Oh, sorry.
Kind of like how our gecko had a unique niche of being able to ride their cavalier around the ceiling.
Mhm.
This one can paralyze things.
Yeah,
Or
and
eventually
the
even
fact
flush
that
a
you
stone.
don't require both feats to make it good.
Yeah.
If I happened to make, like, I don't know, a dwarf or whatever, and I wanted a basilisk as an animal companion, if I'm on a druid or something, my feats aren't the most valuable thing ever. And you spend a lot of time going, oh, I guess I'll just take this. It's neat and niche and fun because if Trinian had a bunch of metamagic feats, it's like, fuck it, I guess I'm doing this because I have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Where you would be getting a basilisk as an animal companion off times, you can spare some feats for it, and it's got a thing that nothing else can do. I could take this, despite it being slow as fuck, and probably do something quite be happy doing it. So I'd say it's a B. I'm not tanking it because of that.
I'm actually like quite glad you brought that up, because like classes like druids and rangers at the very least, and some other classes, their feats might not be that important to them. They might actually be able to not miss 2 feats grabbing 2 feats to turn on their animal companion completely.
You could probably even do an animal domain cleric and not feel too bad. If you're on the caster end of things, and this becomes your martial component.
And Des just brought up a good one the other day. VMC druid fighter.
True.
Because fighter gets all the feats in the book.
I'm giving up half my feats, so I have a normal amount of feats now.
Right.
Darn, I'm a regular character after giving up half of my feats.
And all I got to show for it was a stupid animal companion. Well, I guess I can spend a few more feats that I have extra of in order to turn it into something funnier.
Wouldn't then you just go hunter though? Because then you can sort of get your feet economy back with your free teamwork sharing.
I would think, but hunter might also just want to spend all their regular feats on just more teamwork feats. So I feel like the opportunity cost on hunter is actually greater than on the other animal companion classes.
Very true. Okay. Yeah. Based on feat, either feat availability on what you're doing and feat density required to do what you want to do on your animal companion classes, I think it's less dirty than it could be.
Yeah.
Versus something like what me or Des usually do. It's like, okay, every feat is planned meticulously up to 15 because we're doing 3 builds in a trench coat.
And every feat is absolutely required in order for the thing to function properly at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're building that character, this is absolutely a no-go. If you're on a druid who's like, I could, who fucking cares? I'm a 9th level spellcaster. Lol.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Lol.
fine. It's just fine.
So, shall we slide the list down to Bahir?
I hope this is as good as I want it to be, because I like my grapple snakes.
That's not a good sound.
Well, those prerequisites. Hold on.
Yeah,
What?
this one has prerequisites. You need to have Diplomacy or Intimidate 7 ranks in order to take it. You also need 7 ranks of Arcana.
You need Diplomacy or Intimidate to convince it to work for you, and you need Arcana 7 to know it exists in the first place.
Which might be because they gave it 7 intelligence out the box.
Huh, so they did.
So you don't even need to spend any points into intelligence to make it function. It just starts with a solid 7 to begin with. And we have a solid amount of natural armor here, starting at a +6 and getting 2 more, so 8 in natural armor, that's enough that you can't laugh at it. It's very scoomy between climb 20 and speed 40.
With its fucking 50 million octopede legs, it had better be.
It had better be. So, they only gave it its bite, which is a little bit of a downside maybe, but it at least goes up from a d6 to a d8, so you could make it better. It eventually gains Constrict. It starts off with Grab. Its stat line, again, you'll see a pattern. 16, 12, 16, so solid stat line to begin with. In order for it to improve, it does need to take the Mastery feat. So there isn't a benchmark like with the previous Basilisk. It's just
there's no midpoint evolution,
or you don't have it. But when you do get it, you go up to 20 and 18. So again, still decent stats. Oof. The Constrict will scale with your bite attack size. So if you make the bite attack bigger, this Constrict gets bigger. It gains. It starts with a breath attack. It's a 20-foot line. It's only 46 though, and it starts once per day and becomes a 3 times per day. So the breath attack is kind of not amazing. It starts with a resistance to electricity to 10, which might as well be immunity at low level, and at 11 it just becomes immunity. So it's immune to a damage type. So
I don't like that it requires its evolution to get Constrict.
Yeah, that kind of
no, because you could just have a big snake.
It's like, it is kind of doing the job of some of the big snakes, not necessarily. Well, I'm not gonna say not worse. It's not doing them worse because it does. arguably more damage. And it doesn't have a drawback in its stat department either. So it is technically a better big snake at doing its niche.
I will say,
2 feet.
one thing
But-
that does suck is 2 feats and putting points into a skill that you're probably not putting points into, because most of the animal companion classes don't care about knowledge arcana.
Most of them don't.
Normally you leave that to your spellcaster.
Yeah.
So that's also a bit of a skill point investment.
Yeah,
which
it's not a light
kinda does
tax.
suck. And hell, even diplomacy or intimidate, it's like a lot of those classes don't have a good charisma, so they're probably not investing in those either. So you're giving up 14 skill points, 2 feats to get this, and it just kind of feels like not as good snaky boy who gets a little bit of a zapping breath attack and immunity to lightning.
This is the thing. It is as good as a snake, but that's the problem.
It is
a snake
statistically
that is-
better than the snakes when it comes to just dealing damage. And it is not much worse at grappling. So it is statistically good. But man, does it cost a lot.
It's the price tag.
The price tag may not be worth it.
If
I'm-
they,
I'm
if the
thinking
breath,
C or B.
if the breath weapon functioned like you'd expect it to do, at least on the mastery with a cooldown, I'd say it'd probably be A, B.
I think the breath
the
leak would need to go from a 46 to a much bigger number.
Well, yeah, proper scaling. Give it a breath weapon as a breath weapon scaling, and give it a proper cooldown like a Bahir or a dragon, because that's what it's supposed to do. It might be a C. It's too expensive. It's good, but pricey.
Like, if you're looking at just a stat line, it's probably a B, maybe even an A. Hell, it might
agree.
even compete with a Titanoboa if you were going to completely ignore its price tag. But its price tag drags it way the fuck down. It's brutal.
You know what I'm really thinking? Is that after we've done these videos and we get into character generation, I think when it comes to creatures like this, Beast Speaker should just actually be rolled into the Animal Companions list, and the only feat requirement is your Mastery feat. And then I think it might be worth taking, because otherwise we're doing what we're doing. We're talking about these creatures on their merits, but if we were generating characters, I don't think a single person sat here discussing it would go, yeah, sure, I'm going to spend 14 skill points and 2 feats to get this.
I don't
none
think
of us
I'd
are
get
gonna do
this. The Basilisk, I might consider. This,
Well, yeah, the Basilisk.
probably not.
You know, yeah, I kind of feel like saying the C or the B is trying to be generous because of its stats, but you are absolutely right there, Wah. Like, I cannot see a world where I would take this over taking a regular snake and just giving it something to be immune to lightning, and then probably just finding some sort of magical gear that will let it simulate a better breath weapon.
Like, if they gave this thing its rake, its proper rake, that would probably also have boosted it up pretty high.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like I
sure,
said,
but
let's see how much they kick these things in the balls to make them animal companions.
But you kind of if you're looking at this, and let's say that we're going to take Desert's points where we're taking something similar that does a similar job, and then we're emulating it with abilities, or you're emulating it with, like, say, you're taking Evolve Familiar, or you've got Planner Familiar, and you're giving it these resistances. You're giving this. You're already building on something that exists. So you look at Rake and you go, well, what's this? What's this generally as a feat cost I would have to take, or an item cost I would have to take to emulate it? Would I have to do this? You're already starting at a base point of, I'm spending 2 fucking feats.
Yeah. I'm saying that it might be a lot more worth it if this thing had its proper rake. Like, if this thing could,
Yeah.
on grab, make its rake and just hit it with 4 claw attacks, whatever the hell it was grappling.
So then you've got your Rake and your Constrict. That
But-
breath weapon is still fucking sticking there. It's been unduly nerfed. Like with the Basilisk, it should just get its cone attack at the very least.
And let's not forget, you can't even do the constrict like fun unless you get the mastery feat for it.
Yeah, which is really
Like
brutal.
until 11th level, it can't even do the constrict.
Yeah,
fun.
it doesn't even have a midway point, which I think most of these don't have a midway point, unfortunately.
I mean, by the time this thing turns on, it's hitting the point where it's probably falling off like pretty hard.
Fucking true, because they
Close
stopped
to it.
scaling after 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of rough for Behir.
I'd say it's a C. It's doing plenty, but again, I wonder if a lot of these are just going to be, it's doing fine, but the price tag, no.
I
I think
honestly,
I think for the most part, the price tag on a lot of these isn't as big. This one has a rough price tag. The cost
Yeah,
of
this
entry
is
is a
worse.
bit too large for this one. But I think like
I'm
only 2 of
maybe-
these even call for any skill ranks at all. I could be wrong, but
I'm probably being a little unduly harsh on it, but after what Wah had said with the nobody's gonna look at this and go like, yeah, I'm gonna spend all of this to pick it, like, I'm thinking D, because while it does have some nice things, the price tag is too steep for those nice things.
so sliding it down. C minus
Yeah.
for a happy medium, or just down to D.
Yeah, take your pick.
Yeah. Ooh.
I think that might be the most relevant question that we've not actually addressed while doing nearly any of these videos. Would any of us sat here put the effort into doing this? And if the answer is no, and then it's like,
Well-
that's probably another bump down.
But to be
Yeah.
fair, with all of the other things, I could see people putting in at least a little bit of effort because they don't cost anything more than what's advertised on the tin. This, it's actually just extra cost.
Like,
It's
No.
like going to see a movie and you pay to get in, and then when you get to the freaking movie theater, it's like, oh, you want to see the actual movie? Now you got to pay an extra $5.
Have you
It's like-
seen how fucking much a bucket of popcorn costs? You're already doing that. It's why I don't go to movies. And why I wouldn't take this.
like I could see somebody taking the Behir if they just really like the Behir of the creature.
Yeah, but then nothing
I
matters.
don't- Yeah. Now that,
I mean,
fair.
yeah, like,
Then nothing matters. I like this, so I'm taking it. What's the merits? I like it. Then none of this matters.
Eh,
I mean, again,
yeah,
I have a
suppose.
character using a sword cane because I like the sword cane. I took it because even though it was crap, and then you went and made it better. Yeah, but it was still crap, and I was still using it. Just
Fair. I'll throw in the C minus
mean-
for now because it's still
Okay.
statistically not bad. It's just its cost of entry is way too high, and I think we've torn it up enough on that one.
Here's the thing. This is not really tearing up Behirs. It's tearing up this specific
Behir.
stat block. Yeah. I like Behirs. I'm quite excited to see them crop up. I enjoy them. But fuck me.
So,
Alright, Bullet. Another
let's talk about-
creature that I love.
Alright, so the Bullet here, we're starting at medium and going up to large. It doesn't have a midway point again. It's Scoomy at 40 feet. It has the burrow again. It's got burrow at 20, which is good. It's a good burrow. You got a respectable amount of natural armor that goes up to the +8, which is good natural armor at that point. Bite hurts. It has the claws. The claws hurt less, but I mean, they're gonna. It's fine. Stat line, baseline, good stat line. Improved. About the same improvement as the here, but it was a good improvement, so it's still good. It gains its leap. It can make the acrobatics check to jump, and land next to something. If it succeeds, it can claw attack that thing 4 times. It doesn't get to bite it, but 4 claw attacks is probably worth a bite and 2 claws at least.
Sure. Is that how a typical Bullet
Yes,
leap works?
pretty much. Yeah. They didn't actually gut this very much. Like, its stat line is lower, but
I am gonna
It
say
does
though,
let
it
things.
does absolutely need that mastery feat to become.
yeah.
It
It
is,
definitely needs
it
the
is
mastery feat.
pretty mid without the mastery.
I have a thought here. You know how there's effectively rules for just training animals as standard training, and
Yeah.
you just have an animal. Where there are certain animals with tidbits of information, like a bullet as an adult, you can't tame it. But if you raise one from an egg, it's perfectly capable. You can tame it and train it, and it becomes your fucking pet. Not necessarily a class feature. Realistically, if you have a bullet that's a pet, you've raised it from an egg, you've gone through all this process, at whatever point. Wouldn't that just be better than having the this nerf version? Or hell, cheaper
I
than
don't
any
think
of
so,
these?
actually.
I-
Because
I
this,
would give-
this nerfed version actually has scaling behind it from the Animal Companion class feature.
Yeah,
So this
that's
will
what I was
become
about to say.
stronger, more dexterous, more durable, and will outclass your Wild Bullet easily.
I'm double checking this.
But you know what doing it the other way doesn't do? Cost you 2 feats.
That's definitely a
No,
fucking thought process, isn't
but
it?
also it might die.
So will this? So might this?
Yeah, but this has a better chance of surviving than that. No joke and unironically. That said, it does require the 2 feats to not be mid. It does always have a burrow speed though. And that in itself can be valuable.
I mean, it has a burrow speed, but it does not appear to have any of the blind sense or anything.
No,
So
not built in.
Yeah.
As a creature. Which is, I think, definitely an oversight of whoever wrote it. But
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna stick with the same thing we've been doing, and poor Bullet Boy is going into like B.
I don't
It's
think
not
it's
terrible, but it's not.
using the fucking rare burrow mechanic as a, and it doesn't even have its actual senses to sense things. Why is that making it good? That's bad. It's about blind. It's underground and blind.
I wasn't caring about the burrow. I was talking
Okay.
about like the stats in general, and that leap attack can do some fun things. Assuming you can get its acrobatics high enough.
that's probably not going to be too hard, realistically.
I mean, yeah, acrobatics I believe is no, it's dex scaling.
It's dex scaling, it's a class skill, but also, let's not forget, dexterity is also scaled by the Animal Companion list at the same rate of strength.
That is fair.
Okay. Where do you want to put it, Does?
No, I still say B. B sounds okay. It's not terrible. It's a little. No, I think C, because the 11th level is what's killing it for me right now.
11th level, no midpoint.
No midpoint, and like what it's doing, the 4 attacks. We have some regular animal companions that could just do that better earlier.
Deinonychus.
Yeah.
I mean, Deinonychus, I believe... Where did we place that? We placed it in A tier. Because it just didn't have this... It had the attack, but it didn't have that great of stats.
Yeah, but like this fucker, I think the only thing it has is its survivability, because if it gets low HP, it could just burrow and sit underground until you call it out and say it's safe.
More like it burrows underground, doesn't know where it is, and fucking suffocates.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not fair. That one's not fair, Wah.
Isn't it though?
Absolutely not. That said, it should have
Completely
received. They should
lost.
have given it Trimmer Sense. That was absolutely an oversight on their part, I assume.
So,
Yeah.
okay, in this little vacuum we are in, and someone took this, you give it its Tremor Sense back.
Oh yeah, easily. Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, so if Ashy is your DM, B. If not, C or lower.
Right. So in this situation, with our DM, let's say it's B, because Tremor Sense is pretty good. It makes it an excellent guard. It makes it an excellent. Just we'll be with Tremor Sense. If not, I'm mad at it.
Because we can't guarantee every DM would do that to it and give it its basic sense that allows Burrow to function properly.
Yeah.
But
Holy shit! It's a Mongolian deathworm.
yeah, okay. So I forgot about this, but it is survival 7 ranks, so
I mean, you probably have.
you
that.
probably have that.
This is
Well,
less
yeah.
bad.
Most animal companion classes have that as a class skill.
Well,
Oh,
ranks
bitch.
doesn't matter. It just doesn't feel bad to put points in it.
Oh, they actually gave
yeah,
this one
but-
Tremor Sense. I was just having to check to see if they gave if.
You
Yeah,
know
okay,
this
cool.
whole. You know this whole. It feels bad to put points into a non-class skill. There is a reason that Jack didn't have a single point in his perception, and nor will my warlock, because neither are a class skill for. It wasn't a class skill for either of them. So they're both gonna be blind motherfuckers.
Understandable. Alright, so our Death Worm. It's survival, you're probably gonna have that, so that's probably an irrelevant prereq that just means you can't start with it. Alright, so we got a 20-foot speed, so it's slow, just sliding around, but it does burrow. It's got up to 10 natural armor, which is a lot.
Jesus.
We have a bite that poisons. We've got a good starting stat line with 16 strength and 16 constitution, 14 dex even. Its poison is actually kind of vicious. It does con damage. It requires 2 saves out the box. It's con scaling, and this actually has good constitution. It has a lot of special abilities. Acid resistance, dark vision, low light vision, tremor sense, electricity resistance. So 2 resistances out the box. And it also has the tremor sense that actually lets its burrow function properly. Goes up to large. A bite becomes threatening. It gets more strength and more con. Gains a breath weapon. That breath weapon is 8d6 acid, but because it's acid, you can qualify for the feat Noxious Bite, which is basically put the potential to nausea on bite attack with a con scaling DC, like poison.
Pretty sure you probably could also just let it inherit acid on his bite attack, right?
Hey, well, have you ever read the Noxious Bite feat?
No.
Go give it a read real quick. I was considering giving it to her, but I never got around to it.
Noxious Bite, PF.
If I was
That's
optimizing
the
this, she would have had
3.5
it.
feet. Yeah, it's the same one. Yeah, it's from 3.5. 1 point of
Honestly-
acid damage.
Keep reading.
Living creatures you bite make a fortitude to be nauseated for a round. Equal to 1 plus con modifier. Okay. Equal to the DC of the breath weapon. Okay.
So, yeah, that's a cute
Yeah.
thing that you could do. Oh, yeah, its resistance also become immunity, so it becomes immune to 2 damage types. It does
Why
need its
is-
advancement in order to, it's defeat in order to have the advancement, but, baseline, it's not bad. It's a pile of abilities and resistances, and its poison's just good at the box, which is rare for an animal companion.
Why does this get all these, but the Bahia gets fucking shafted?
I don't know. But yeah, this is if we were to use the metric of if we would use this, I would absolutely use this.
Yeah, I'd use the shit out of this. This is a good animal companion.
I kind of feel this one is A tier, and the only thing keeping it out of S for me is the cost.
Well, here's
The
the
2
thing.
feats.
We were talking about the cost, and we're like, well, these animal companions had better have features and stuff that is worth those feats, and this has those. This has all the extra bits and bells and whistles and the immunities and resistances and these sensors and a breath weapon and some poison that's good and good stats that weirdly back up its poison, which most things that do poison don't have. You are paying for something, but you are getting something for paying for it. This breaks the conventions of all these things you want it to be good at and its skills with are doing it. This is like the gold standard of what 2 feet should represent, whereas the rest of them are just sad so far.
So it's
Fair.
an easy
I
A
guess
tier.
I guess I was being a little too like hoping another one might be more worth it, but seeing those prerequisites on the next one, it's not got my hopes high.
I think we're in an unfortunate situation where being extra mean to it is the wrong way to look at it, and what you're supposed to do is temper your expectations instead.
I mean, I did still say A.
I think it's an A.
Okay.
For me, it was the cost was keeping it out of S.
I agree with that.
This
But
is
my
one that
thought
I'd
process
absolutely
is this
use.
is what it should look like. This is what one of these animal companions from this feat tree should look like across the board.
Pile of abilities, decent stats.
Pile of stuff.
Because you're spending 2 feats for a pile of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And it's
understandable.
abnormally high natural armor. You've got a bit of extra chunkiness that's also unseen in most of the companions. That's not a turtle.
Yeah. It's actually just a really good boy.
I think the downs. What's its body type is probably a serpentine, right?
Yeah, it's a worm. It's a big worm. So its
So-
body type is that its slottage is kind of piss poor.
But it's
Not
got
the
a neck.
worst. Yeah, it has a neck.
I mean, strictly speaking, I think like fish or worm doesn't have a neck, but we'll ignore that.
Well, actually, serpentines might have lost their neck slot as well, and we just ignored that for our previous campaign.
They're all neck. They're all fucking neck.
So the plesiosaur, but it didn't help it.
Yeah, but it's a fish body
Yeah, true.
for some fucking reason,
Yeah.
despite it being a lizard.
So
And
it's
therefore,
sludge, it's piss
having
poor, but you can get around that.
Yeah.
With slotless magic items with extra gold.
Serpentine is a baseline of doable because we've seen snakes and we've always rated snakes as quite high because of what they do. This is a serpentine body thing with snake features. I think it's fine because it's not an ape. It's not humanoid, but we can deal with it.
Yeah. So we agree that it's A tier. Well, let's talk about the Sun Falcon then.
All right.
So the Sun
It's a tiny
Falcon.
creature.
The Sun Falcon is a bird, but it's actually a decent bird, I think.
Okay. Okay.
So it does have some harsh requirements. You need Diplomacy 7 ranks, and Arcana or Religion of 7 ranks, which are
That's more
all...
doable.
What?
The religion is at least more doable than
Yeah.
Arcana.
It's a little more reasonable on a druid or something. You start tiny and you go to small.
Okay.
Okay, so it's bird, so it's gonna be slow on land, but it's not gonna be on land. It's flying. It's obviously gonna fly. Natural armor starts off kind of low, but actually becomes kind of decent. And I don't ask me to explain the AC 19 plus 4 natural armor, because that is on all of its stat lines, and is never explained what the fuck that's supposed to mean.
I just assume that the Sun Falcon, because it's a Sun Falcon, has a base 19 armor for some reason.
So it's probably
That's what it looks like.
So hey, maybe it's automatically wearing a full plate. I don't know.
That appears to be what it looks like. That's what it seems to say.
My thought is the Paizo writers probably missed the 0 and hit 9.
I don't even know, and I wasn't even gonna make a big deal out of it, but that's a thing there. So the talons, they don't hurt a lot, but they inflict burn. The strength on this thing is negligible. It's gonna be a dex creature. It's got 12 con baseline, but gets a +4, so it actually is a bird with a good constitution. Its dexterity is reasonable for what you need it for. It's got intelligence of 5 off the rip, which is decent. Like, it's better than 2. Between 2, it's like normally it's 1 or 2. This is 5. You can do just about whatever you want with its feats, at least as far as animal companions are concerned. Wisdom 14, charisma 15. It gains additional charisma. Good for it. 17 charisma on your bird. Alright, so it gets a breath weapon. It starts off usable once per day. It goes up to 3 times per day. At 3d6, that's not probably threatening. But a burn of d6, it's doing consistent damage over time, at the very least. It has the midpoint of 9th, and then it has its mastery. Its mastery gives it another 3 times per day ability. A 20-foot cone, standard action. Those in that area need to make a reflex save or take some damage, and become blinded for a number of rounds. Creatures that succeed take no fire damage are instead dazzled, so at least there's a diminution effect on the save. It's a charisma-based scaling. This thing supports its charisma for some reason, so it's at least a supported ability.
Okay, so I was looking at this, and I've got one thing that I was going to be generous on it about, but then there was something else that was going to be very harsh.
Okay.
I'll start with the generous.
Right?
If you look at it, because you need 7 ranks, it's only going to be tiny for 2 levels.
True.
That's where my generosity ends, because
Okay.
the fact that your animal companion is starting tiny means it has to eat AOOs every time it wants to land an attack, because it's got to go into the enemy's square, and it will get torn the fuck apart doing that.
Probably.
And other than that, until it becomes at least small, it's useless to you in every other way, because it's going to fire its 3d6 breath once per day, and then it's going to go sit in a tree and eat seeds while you wait for it to recharge till tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
Ooh, this one.
I'm thinking of it as I feel like it does what the birds want to do, except it has 5 intelligence and can actually report information back. This creature could actually scout for you, unlike the rest of the birds.
You know what? If that's what you want to go for, I guess that's fair. But you're paying 2 feats for D for bird. You know.
Do we happen to know of any monster feasts that interact with burn? Because it's not an impressive burn, but there could be something floating around between items and feats that allow that burn to carry on very nasty effects. Because burn, once again, is quite a rare ability. But on the other hand, there are elemental familiars or companions you can get that do also have burn, of fire elemental. I don't know how they stack up to this, because it might be stuck with familiar status.
So, as a familiar, the burn is kind of negligible as well, but if you could leadership into a fire elemental and get a reasonable size, larger fire elementals do have a threatening burn. A decent burn is at least consistent damage, though.
Well, the downside being fire do be the most resisted and immune element in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong.
So even your burn has a good potential in any fight, to just not really.
So we're looking at D for bird, but this is quite a fun, charismatic bird that does a lot more than regular birds. It's got better stats generally than most birds. I think this is a C. And if there is some weird burn support that I just can't find right now, because I'm trying, it might be a B if the burn support is good enough. Because there's got to be something.
I mean, I can agree with C. It is still costing you 2 feats to get this bird.
Oh, fucking hell, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, it might still be D for bird.
And that's exactly why it's got the scout thing, but you know what else can scout for you? Fucking insect scouts and spells like that are all on your ranger list. Like there is just other things you could do and not do this with your animal companion. And the odds of your animal companion, if you want to use it in any form, like as an actual companion in kind of combat, it's just not going to survive level 7 and 8 to get to 9 to where it can actually help.
I'm so angry that this cool as fuck mini Phoenix is just like making me a little bit. Because I want this thing to be cool as fuck.
Well,
because it is cool as fuck. Look at him. He's so precious. He's so charismatic.
Well,
I'm gonna say it. If it just started with the 9th level,
you could skip level 7 and 8 and pick it up at 9 and just have it come out at 9th, rather than get it as soon as possible. But
its mastery 11 is also kind of irrelevant.
And that's also not a big plus for it too, though. Because of the fact that, like, let's be fair, by 9th level, like, most non-book campaigns are already petering out because they don't typically go past 12. And even, like, a book campaign, it's like, once you get to that point, it's like, yes, I'm trading out my probably very effective wolf or very effective snake or very effective dinosaur. Let's get this pigeon.
Hold that thought, Des. Wow, did you just call a blind irrelevant?
It says dazzled.
It says blind. If it succeeds to save, it's dazzled.
Oh, okay.
It's a blind. Wow. It's a 20-foot spotlight blind effect.
Yeah, your bird's a flashbang.
Okay.
I'm kind of looking at... So, as a traditional animal companion, it's not a good fighter. I'm kind of looking at it more like it has 6 spells that it casts.
Do you know what I'm looking at this like? My initial suggestion that this just get rolled into the things and you just take the mastery feat for the final evolution, and then it's like D for bird is S for sun falcon. If you're limited to birds, like you're playing a falconer or something, you take fucking this and you don't feel bad you've got a fucking bird.
It is absolutely the best bird when it comes to small birds.
So
but that's also because the small birds can't defend themselves and can't contribute much. This pseudo cast spells.
This is just suggesting to me that these should be rolled into the main companion thing, and there's only 1 feat mastery.
Yeah, especially because you're waiting till 11th level for it.
Because for some reason, it's all 11th level across the board.
And, yeah, like like if I'm gonna be honest, if it just started at the 9th level advancement and it got its mastery at 9 instead of 11, I might have been less harsh on this, and I might have even said like B. But just everything that's presented here, it's just not scratching it well enough for me for the cost that you're spending. Of like 1 feat, you get some cool abilities, but it's not great.
It's not D for bird, but it's not good.
Yeah. But I think C could work for it.
I think
but
C is fine.
Yeah,
I can't go any higher than C.
No. Best I could do is C.
I'll take
And
C.
3
Best I
men.
could-
I'll even set it
Yeah.
next to the B here since there were ideas of putting it in the D. I don't think an animal companion that can't really fight can go very far, very high. That said, I feel like having what is effectively 3 spells per day and 3 more spells per day might be worthwhile. Treating its breath attack and such as a spell rather than as breath attack, because
Yeah, but you could have an animal companion that's a big meaty fighter and it's about to go murder something. And that's got an
Spino,
infinite amount
or
of cast
Gorthak.
kill. Yeah, that's got an infinite amount of the spell I cast fist.
and
It
that
casts
is the
munch.
that is everything that is Paizo for very specifically Beast Speaker. So, Monstrous Mount. I feel kind of bad for these boys. I already feel preemptively bad for these boys. So, the Griffin.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
You're a lot more talkative in these videos where we just get to shit on literally everything.
Alright, so
You're having fun now.
A little bit.
our boy the Griffin, you need like one of these 3 charisma based skills, 5 ranks. Diplomacy, Intimidate, or Handle Animal. And you also need to ride 5 ranks. This
Sure.
is a
It
mount feat, so hypothetically, you'll be having that 5 ranks, and you'll probably have at least one of those 3.
I'm gonna say it right now before we even continue. This is irrationally pissing me off, and I'm considering F tier for one thing. Oh, take the feat Monstrous Mount. Oh, okay. What'll that do? It'll give me a mount? Oh, no, of course not. You need the fucking mastery in order for it to be a mount.
That's right. That's right. We had this conversation.
The mastery is at 7th level, at least, I guess, when you would get its 7th level advancement anyways. But you absolutely need to feed into it. Until then, it can't carry your fat ass.
Feed it into it. I bought Monstrous Mount. They should have just called that like Monstrous Companion or something,
They
and
have
then
Monstrous
made the
Companion
mastery
feat, we
turn it
discussed that.
into it. But
That's a different feat.
no, but I'm just saying, like, they should just put this into that, and then just made but no, this is the fact that your feet taxing me to like a second feat to do what your base feat is saying it should do.
Okay, so hear me out. At least it speaks common. Wait, no. It doesn't speak. It understands your common.
Fuck off.
And I was about to say, yeah, so do a lot of players, but that doesn't necessarily make them.
Alright. Let's actually talk about the creature some, though. So, of course, it's rideable as a mount. It starts off at large.
No, it's not. Unable to. Well, you can ride it, but it can't fly with you.
Yeah. It can't carry a rider while flying out the box, because
Ghetto horse.
Paizo hates you flying.
You know what can carry you out the box? The large flying turtle.
You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe the flying turtle should actually be higher than D tier.
No.
Well, after the
No.
griffin, I'm tempted that the flying turtle should go up by 1.
I think the griffin should just be underneath the flying turtle.
Cold. Alright, so 30-foot
Just
move
got a
speed
bite.
on land, 40-foot fly speed. Baseline.
Okay.
Now, that's kind of slow in the air, but I think that's also kind of deliberate because that's the speed that you get to keep when you finally can mastery it. Because when you master it, it halves the fly speed. Which is really fucking stupid. At least its base stats are actually pretty good. 16, 15, 16 are good. 5 intelligence means you don't need to spend anything on intelligence.
It does.
Yeah.
You know those Sable Company Griffin riders that were flying around in the last camp?
They ride hippogriffs, not griffins.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. They have the same restriction too.
Okay.
They do.
All right. So my point stands, man. They've wasted a lot of fucking feats to get to where they are. No wonder they were crashing into everything. They didn't have room for anything else.
No, 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 no. You see, they're actually an archetype of ranger. That's their problem.
Wow.
That's a different problem.
Anyways. It starts off with just the bite, but it gets a bite and 2 talons, it gains pounds, it has rake. Its increase to stats is not amazing, it's only going up to 18 strength and 18 con, but those aren't terrible stats. Would I say that they're worth a feat stats? No, but pounds and rake are at least good class features.
But the dice tied to them are quite low.
Yeah, they're all d6s.
Yeah.
They're beneath that level of being a d8, which is a sweet spot where we consider a dice to be good. So, trying to be fair, where should this go?
It's pretty fucking mid. It's
C
like
tier then.
C. It's C. It's mid. But you paid 2 feet. No, you paid 1 feet for it.
You paid 1 feet for it, and if you want it to fly with you, you need to
Oh.
pay another feet.
I mean,
Never mind. It's 2
let's
feet.
be real. Yeah, let's be real. If you're getting a griffin, it's because you've watched like things like Harry Potter or one of those random side where it's like
That's
I
a
want to be a
hippogriff.
griffin rider. Yeah, but most people don't know the difference. They look very similar. But it's just the fact of a lot of people have seen things like that and are just like, I want to fly on that thing. So you've wasted 2 feet.
So I imagine that the Griffin and Hippogriff will be sitting next to each other in the near future, so I'll zoom in on them so people can see the difference on their pogs. But yeah.
It's mid. With
It's
2
very
feet.
mid.
I think we're going D for bird.
Yeah.
Oof.
Bird, lion, horse.
And that's not offset
I
at all
mean-
by Pounce and Rake?
No, because they're not. The numbers are too low.
Okay.
The dice number is too low.
I mean, the dice number might be low, but if you can do
And let's also
enough
be
flat
fair.
damage, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but you're not really building this to go for the whole damage and everything. What you're supposed
It's
to
probably
be
going on a
building this
Cavalier
for-
and doing a charge. That Pounce is really fucking important for a Cavalier.
I mean, yeah, it might go on a Cavalier, except for the Cavalier, like, then needing to take Monstrous Mount, and then needing to take the other feat just to make this thing do what the Cavalier wants to do.
I think a Cavalier can actually afford to do that, though. In fairness. Like, assuming
Anybody
that they're
can
not
afford it if you use a
trying
big enough
to
crowbar.
go down a weird ranged Cavalier, or some kind of 2-weapon fighting Cavalier. Most Cavaliers are probably going to have one big weapon, probably a lance, and they're going to want to smash that lance at terminal velocity at something. Because that's kind of what Cavalier does. And that's also what Griffin kind of wants to do. So, I think that's actually very relevant.
Okay, we'll go for C. It's just mid.
It's C if you're on a Cavalier.
I mean, let's see, how many classes count as having a mount?
Cavalier, paladin.
Samurai.
Samurai. But Samurai is also kind of just a different flavor
Some
of Cavalier.
rangers. Some rangers.
Being fair, though,
sure
they
there's
don't
some
get mount
fighters.
as a class feature. Then again, I think I'm gonna pull up the feat. Because it does call out very specifically what it wants to be able to take it. Monstrous Mount. So, Divine Bond, Hunter's Bond for Ranger, or Mount. Okay.
So, things that can get mounts. Paladin, Ranger, Hunter, Druid. Magus, Arcane Rider, Barbarian, Mad Dog, Blood Rider, Blood Ranger, Blood Rider. Inquisitor can get Sacred Huntsmaster, Shaman can get Wildland Shaman, and a Sohei Monk.
They gain the Mount class feature?
According to this guy.
Okay.
Non-martials with Sylvan Sorcerer and oracles with Nature Mystery and Animal Companion, Revelation, Horse or Wolf.
I think Druid is one that can't actually take Monstrous Mount, though. They
Okay.
don't have any of these class features. But, regardless.
Anyway.
My point
What were
being,
we
most
doing?
of those kind of will probably be using that mount to charge in and smash. Maybe exception to the
Right.
Ranger, who might want to fly around on it and point and poke things with arrows from a distance. But that
If
point
your
doesn't matter if you're
primary-
a Griffin or not.
If your primary concern is big charge and then just hit them like the fucking Fist of God, then you're going for something Rhino adjacent with his powerful charge and stuff, not this thing.
Just grab 1 feet and ride your lion into battle.
Yeah.
Which feels like to get a lion.
Just use like the animal companion thing to take a lion, and then use one, because I'm pretty sure there's a feat out there that lets you turn things that aren't typically a rideable thing into rideable things.
I couldn't find one. There are
Oh.
some things that are typically not, but for that I specifically found like I think it was Beast Speaker actually that let you not Beast Speaker. Shit, what was it? It was the Orc one. Beast
Oh,
Rider.
that added-
Beast
that
Rider
added
that added
elephants.
Rhinoceros.
Yeah. Rhino Elephant
But
and something else.
These aren't options for your typical Cavalier.
Ah, there you go. Under the ride skill, if you attempt to ride a creature that's ill-suited a mount, you just take a -5 on your ride check. So technically, you could just ride anything, and since it's your companion, it's not actively going to be trying to throw you off.
Right, but we're also talking about mostly classes that don't have access to the entirety of the list, nor can gain
Fair.
access to the entirety of the list.
Fair.
Where there's
But
a
yeah,
will, there's a
if-
way.
If you wish to put it higher, I don't feel it should go any higher, just because of the way it's...
Yeah.
I'm happy with it being in C tier.
Okay. Wow, this entire conversation that took 15
My
minutes
argument was keeping it at a
irrelevant.
D tier.
Well, we already agreed that it's not in D. We
No,
just
I
put it for
didn't.
C for mid.
I'm
Oh,
just stopping the argument.
Okay.
Hippocampus. Okay, so Hippocampus is not meant to be on land. As you can see, based on that speed of 5. Swim 40.
F for fish.
It's got fish problems.
Wow, is this better or worse than a seahorse?
Worse.
Oh, that's a good question. Is it better or worse than a seahorse?
I think it's worse. Somehow.
It's not actually count as horse. Then again, neither does a seahorse, does it? Does that count
No,
as horse?
neither of them are horses.
Well, this is
It's-
more horse than a seahorse.
It's technically more.
Yeah.
It's technically faster than a sweet seahorse, and it can go onto land technically.
Yeah, but it also
It's
requires
not-
2 feats to...
Really better statted.
Oh, it's the dex boost from its 9.
Yeah.
Oh no!
9 to 13, like, okay.
It's got a D6. What's his tail? It's
It gets a tail attack that becomes a D4.
plus half. It's a
Yeah, it's
secondary,
secondary.
tail slap. Oh my god! Get it, F.
It's,
F.
I can't even argue that. It's kind of bad.
Why is it Paizo's hate of fish things?
I don't know. It's kind of just bad.
Like these
Water
are
dependency
fairly...
is also just a drawback. It's a serious drawback that punishes it for trying to be on land for too long.
These like a hippocampus is a fairly terrifying cryptid in well, it's Greek. A hippocampus is Greek.
Yeah.
But like you've got kelpies and all these other things that are all fairly well known and kind of well loved mythological creatures. Why have they been done so dirty just because they're a wet thing?
It
I
is
don't know, man.
absolutely. Alrighty, so
Hippogriff, the
Hippogriff.
reverse griffin.
it's not a reverse griffin. It's got a horse butt instead of a lion butt. completely different. So anyways, it starts off faster on land than the Griffin does. It starts off faster in the air than the Griffin does. Its stat line is slightly worse than the Griffin's. It starts off with a 1d6 bite. Natural armor isn't much to talk about. Its increase at 4th level, I mean, it gets a 4th level increase instead of a 7th level increase, so that tells you a little bit something. You go up to 17 strength and 16 con, so you're still squishier, you're still less strong. Your claw attack is worse. It doesn't have pounce. It is faster in the air than the Griffin. This is the Sable Company Marine mount, by the way.
Until you ride it. The second you buy the ability to ride it, its speed gets cut in half.
Oh yeah, no. It's still faster than the Griffin, though. Like, it's 10 feet faster than the Griffin. So it might be preferable to Griffin for a ranged ranger, just because it's slightly faster. But...
My thought is it should go into D because it doesn't even have the pounce rake shenanigans.
It's kind of a worse Griffin somehow.
It's a worse Griffin.
Yeah, it's also stupider,
Yes.
so you can't take as many feats with it. I'm going to set it next to Griffin real quick and zoom in so we can see the difference. For those that are confused about the difference between a Griffin and a not a hippocampus,
Hippogriff.
a hippogriff. Lion butt. Horse butt. And down here you go.
Alright, Warg, save us. Fucking save us by being actually a good creature.
It's Goblin Wolf.
But no, Wargs are just... Wargs are the big angry super wolves that the Urukais were riding around in...
I am aware, but it also speaks Goblin, so it's a Goblin Wolf.
Oh, true.
It has an easy prerequisite. Because they gave it a prerequisite.
Be on the bottom half.
So, you gotta be within 1 step of neutral evil. Which means, yeah, you could be neutral. It's fast at 50 feet. AC is, it has some. It has a bite that doesn't start with trip, but gains trip. And, its starting stats are okay. They're fine. 17 strength and dex 15, constitution 13. It's a 4th level advancement though, and +2 strength and +2 con aren't great. Its 7th level mastery ability is once per day you can you get a fear cone.
It's not even large. These things should be large. Wargs are large.
It should be large, but it doesn't.
I am... Again, I'm thinking C or D simply because it's not large, and you're spending an extra fucking feet for it.
It's been
So,
ruled. It's
Just
ruled
take
out
a
as
wolf.
because it's not getting up to its actual size it should be, where your fucking Urukai or your evil paladin dude can ride it. No, it's a D.
I just want to draw a line real
It's
quick.
medium.
I just want to draw this line real quick. Here's the warg, and up here is the wolf.
And oh,
I just want to point out what it can be reasonably compared to.
Doesn't the wolf get
Yes,
large?
but yeah,
It
wolf
is.
becomes large. Wolf becomes large. Wolf also does everything that this warg does, minus the fear howl once per day. But warg costs you 2 feats for that fear howl, and without the fear howl, it's just a chihuahua.
So without an additional feat, no, you may as well just take a wolf. You find a way to get a wolf companion instead, because you can fucking ride it as a medium-sized
Wolf is
human.
available to pretty much every class that has access to an animal companion.
Yeah.
Why does this exist? Why is it?
I'm
I
gonna
think
be
it
honest,
exists
I
as
see
the
where it-
small cavalier what's it mount. But yeah, it's kind of...
What's this about being oversized fucking wolves?
I'm hesitant to place it in D tier, but I feel like it might escape F tier. That's kind of how I feel about the warg.
My big problem with it is the fact that you're paying a feat for a worse wolf. and then you're paying a second feat to give that worst wolf the ability to howl.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a warg.
Yeah.
It's literally what a Fenrisian wolf is. A warg is just basically an evil, intelligent dire wolf.
Yeah.
The fantasy one that are fucking huge. What the fuck's wrong with this thing?
Now, this should have gotten the 7th level advancement where it increases in size. It should have absolutely gotten that.
Yeah. This thing is it's the Chihuahua of work kind.
Yeah, no, this...
I can't.
You're trying to be generous and keeping it at an F, but I just feel that everything about it is just like, it belongs in F because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit thematically. It doesn't fit fluff-wise. It doesn't fit any fantasy metric whatsoever.
And anything that could have this could just get a wolf.
Just get a wolf, fucking ruffle its fur up a little bit more, make it look a little angrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a work so dirty.
That has got to be one of the dirtiest ones I've seen. Like, honestly, all they had to do was copy the fucking wolf stat block and then give it a couple of supernatural abilities and maybe a bit more brains.
Yeah, like if they basically turned all these stats into wolf stats. Let it keep its languages, let it keep its 6 intelligence, gave it its mastery, it would have been at least C, maybe B tier.
Yeah.
But yeah. Unfortunately,
this
the word
really
could not save the list.
This really does smack of them not wanting to be able to tangentially get a wolf on something that they don't want to have a wolf. So the wolf adjacent is just got to be inferior to a wolf just to make sure they can't have a wolf.
Yeah.
Like, are you see what I'm seeing? Where it's just like, okay, they want something wolfish, but we can't make it as good as a wolf because we said they can't have a wolf in their base list, so we can't give them this, even though they've invested 2 fees into.
So let's see. The wolf is accessible by both cavaliers and rangers, which are kind of the 2 things that are known for having limited lists. So a paladin can't have a wolf.
Well, a human paladin can't ride this anyway.
No.
Yeah.
Shrug. There we go.
So, yeah, no.
This
That's
does
our
not
list.
need to exist.
That's our list.
Jesus Christ, the
So-
warg was the most disappointing one.
Yeah. So I think it's easy to say the Deathworm was the best creature we looked at today. And the only reason
Get
it's not S tier is because feats.
Get some barding for that. Ride the worm. Do the worm.
Deathworm actually exciting. A
Yes,
Basilisk
yeah,
managing to live in B tier? Okay.
Well, I think
Good
we
for
all
it.
just collectively like the Basilisk and we're like, okay, we could do something with this and not be mad about it because we kind of like Basilisks.
and it doesn't require its mastery to be good. The paralysis is, in some situations, is just
Good.
stone to flesh.
I think the the flesh to stone is a immunity bypasser,
Yeah.
being not a paralysis effect but a transmutation.
It bypasses some immunities. It does fall into that weird spot where some things that are immune to... So there's this weirdness between the two, is because it changes the type of effect, some things that were immune to paralysis are no longer immune to that, but some things that weren't previously immune have just become immune. Which is so weird.
Yeah.
Is that true though? Because I think, are you thinking of the polymorph immune things? Because I can't think of anything. Like, other than blind things, but they don't fucking care anyway.
Things that essentially can't be transmuted or have a respectable enough spell resistance. Or... Because there are some things with really niche immunities.
Okay, fair. I think less things are immune to flesh of stone than they are to
Paralysis,
though.
probably, yeah.
Like,
You can
if
hit a
you're in
dragon with
campaign-
Flesh to Stone.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's... Basilisk's a good boy. He's a bit slow, he's a bit pricey, but he's a good boy.
They also ate pretty good,
Yeah.
which is a shame. Bullet would have probably easily been B tier if only they gave it its tremor sense in its stats. But what you gonna do? But here they did dirty. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Sun Falcon I wanted to be good, because I think that is a really cool creature for something that's not going for a massive stat stick like a Falcon or something. I wanted this thing to be good.
I think. Okay, so I legitimately think the Sun Falcon is pretty good. It doesn't feel the same niche as your average, like, Animal Companion, which is kind of a drawback, because if you're taking a Sun Falcon, you're losing out on... But
Yeah,
you could
like-
just have a big beef stick to Rampage.
Yeah, the problem is it suffers from all of the issues with D for bird.
Yeah. At least it's not squishy like most of the birds. It's allowed to be somewhat tanky.
It's 2 feet.
Yeah.
It's 2 feet.
It's 2 feet
2
for a
feet.
bird, and I wanted it to be so much better. I wanted a mini phoenix, to be honest, and make it worth doing, because then I would bite the bullet, and I would probably think about making a falconer or something that uses this that doesn't get a giant stat stick, but gets something interesting that's good in its own right. I don't think this thing is more appealing than throwing out a fucking dinosaur or a wolf or a rhino, whatever.
Yeah.
Perhaps not.
It's just not.
I think its flashbang ability is actually just legitimately hilariously good.
Maybe even make it start small and go up to medium. Have a big bird, and then it's way more appealing.
It
That's
definitely
what I
shouldn't
was
have
saying.
started tiny.
Yeah, the fact that it started tiny was just like, why?
The fact that it started tiny means that you kind of can't take it before 9th level. Because before 9th level, it's kind of like... Okay, what can
It'll
this
just
do?
get murdered.
Breath attack once per day, and then it's kind of... Like, because Dez is absolutely right on that. I mean, okay. You could give it flyby attack. Flyby attack might save it. It could fly in, hit it, and leave.
Yeah.
Which might be all you need to actually do.
Meh.
That might actually just do it, though. Flyby attack might just do it.
It can
Yeah,
stand
but-
it can stand on the roof of the boss's base, scratch the roof, and set it on fire.
I mean, like, let's be fair though, like, and I know this is a bit unfair, but at that point you're paying another feat tax to get around its other weakness when you've already paid 2 feats.
Flyby attack would be a feat
Already
of its eating,
paid.
though, and it's a feat that it would benefit from greatly. Like,
Yes,
flyby
but
attack is
again,
legitimately
it's-
just a good feat.
Yes, but I don't care how good it is. I'm more going by the you're feet taxing me on something I already paid the feet tax on.
Well, you're not taking flyby, it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's still one
You're
of
not
its
riding
feats.
it.
No, but that's still like one of its feats. It's
Well-
like we've already paid the price for this. It should have just been small.
I've got to assume that most birds are probably taking flyby attack. It's probably mandatory. Because they're birds.
Yeah, and they're all in D.
I think the tax is that you've got a bird. A small one.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it's you've got a bird that you paid 2 extra feats for.
Yeah, there's no escaping it. Like, Des is right, actually. There's merits it has, and you're right. But you're probably just not getting around. You've paid 2 feet.
Like, I do get it, but I mean, you could buy fucking like Thunderstones and simulate the. It's like it's just one of those situations where, like, I trust me, I kind of dig its abilities and stuff too. I would love for it to be good,
Yeah, I love
but
this thing.
unfortunately, they just don't want to make flyers good.
Yeah, they don't.
I
I
mean,
hate
let's wait till we get to the Drake video, where literally the whole video could be summed up with it gutted your class and gave you a subpar version of a Drake as an animal companion because fear the Drakes,
Oof.
fear dragons, fear flyers.
Oof. Harsh.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that video, and Des is gonna have a lot more fun shitting on Drakes. And
The
so
worst
am I.
part is, I like them. I want them to be good,
Yeah, but then.
but I'm not about to sit here and like put my head in the sand and say they are when they're not.
Gotta make excuses, gotta gaslight yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my friend, well, my old coworker who was like, "Oh yeah, I went to see this movie and I hated it, but then after I saw it 2 more times, like, yeah, after you spent almost $100 on it and was held hostage by it for 6 hours, you finally see eye to eye with it. I would too if I was a fucking prisoner."
That's just the
Stockholm
epitome
syndrome
of.
setting in.
I was going to say sunk cost fallacy, but also that.
Yeah. Like, I do see where you're coming from, Ashy. Those abilities it has are freaking awesome. And if it was on a slightly better body that you didn't have to spend so much on, it would have been cool. But you just got to look like, do you really want to spend the 2 feats for those abilities that it gets when you're already, or do you just want to get something that's like a lot more effective at what it do?
It needs to be a medium-sized mini Phoenix. That's what it needs to be.
Basically, yeah. That like if they had done something like that where they made it.
It's a medium-sized mini. It should be a medium-sized mini Phoenix. That'll make it more. The lodge just went fucking nuts and sprayed a bunch of water at me. Thanks. He just had a big old thrash, and I don't know what's wrong with him. Anyway, fuck. Sorry, I just got fished at. I am covered in water.
Your dojo wants to be
Yeah,
fat.
then I think it might have just burnt its barbels on the fucking heater. Anyway, fucking hell. Yeah, it'll make it more appealing to small size fucking riders. So you could have your halfling or your gnome or your goblin or something. Oh, well, goblin, I guess. Yeah, goblin would love it. It's on fire. It would be just a lot more appealing to be ridden by a small rider, and then it's got a lot more use to it.
Let's
It
be
is having
fair
a
though.
different niche to it
If
if
they
it were, but
No, it wouldn't
If
add
they-
a different. It would add a niche, but it'd have the same fucking niche, just more usability. It would do more things.
Yeah, but let's
Anyway.
be fair. If they did that, they would add a whole other feat you have to take just to be able to ride it, and its
Half
speed would
speed.
get cut in half.
True. All right, I think we're done here.
probably. Well, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, maybe subscribe, possibly leave a comment. Perhaps
Tell us how wrong and stupid we are.
Perhaps you
Please,
have
please do.
insight upon these creatures we've discussed.
Ciao.
Bye!